Hello and how are you, to sports lovers out there? My name is Robbie Gillette and welcome to conversation number 21 of the Keeping It Real with Robbie podcast, where we chat all things from the mental side of sport to stories, laughs and banter. Whether into the old pigskin or the old leather ball, we've got you. Today I'm joined by Knights fast bowler Migael Pretorius as we chat about his journey from Vereeniging to the Proteas and the roller coaster that came with the selection and being released due to injury, as well as taking a look at some of the leadership and performance spaces he finds himself in. And should you find yourself enjoying the podcast, it'd be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to and rated it on all platforms. I hope you guys enjoy and let me know what you guys think. So, we're going 3 in a row. Let's go. And today I'm joined by Vereeniging's favorite child, Dean Elgar's biggest nightmare, and Knights fast bowler Migael Pretorius. Migael, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. But before we get into the Dean Elgar story, which I know wasn't in the contents, but I thought I'd just throw it in there, maybe put you on the spot a bit. How are you doing? How's the body? I know you just came from a team meeting. How's everything that side?
Yeah, no, it's good. Getting into it, but stiff. I haven't bowled in a while. You're putting me under there. I'm wondering what Dean Elgar's story is going out there now.
So I actually listened to, I think it would have been a live that you did, maybe. And you mentioned the story of you bowling to Dean Elgar as a youngster in the nets, and there was a bit of a story behind it. So do you mind telling that story, or is that offsides?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't too much of a story. I was obviously young, still played for Christendom at the academy. I actually think they played against Australia or West Indies. Not sure, I can't remember. Just bowled them to them in the nets, and I couldn't pitch one, and he's off. Just kept on going short. He wasn't happy about that, but oh well, it's part of it.
And now it's water under the bridge, having spent some time with him in the Proteas camp.
Yeah, no, but I think they play so many guys. I don't really think they remember too much.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's all good. He's a very nice guy. So cool.
Well, it's a feather in the cap, nonetheless. But sure, like I'd love just to explore your story. I think it's an interesting one. Certainly, having done a bit more research on it. Where does the Migael Pretorius? I'm saying that correctly, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Where does the Migael Pretorius story begin in terms of cricket? And I suppose, what was it like growing up in Vereeniging? Must be pretty special up there. Lots of space.
Yeah. Well, started there. It was very nice. My dad sat over there, so from a young age, we played a lot in the back garden. I think most cricketers do. Yeah. And then eventually just got a net at the house. Used to play there and train there a lot. Was lucky enough to train at the Vaal campus. They had an indoor facility there where my brother and I used to just go and play and train there. And then from there, made my way to primary school, made my way to Pretoria, played at Sancho Park. And then, Vaal took me up and made my way through the ranks like that. But I enjoyed it. As I said, I think most of my training and stuff started in the Vaal campus in the indoors there. Did a lot of bowling and batting and just playing around there with my brother.
Yeah, was it like most brothers playing outside a lot of garden cricket, a lot of competition?
It was. He was a bit more difficult. It was. He used to bat for hours, and then when it was my turn, he used to lose interest. So but it was always fun. He used to play a lot, so I enjoyed that. And we had my stepbrother. We used to us three used to play a lot every holiday, every weekend that we had a time to play. We used to play in the garden.
Oh, that's exactly it. And again, in doing research, I kind of realized and saw that you actually hadn't played correct me if I'm wrong, but a provincial side in your junior kind of career. Why is that? And, I suppose, does it make it the feeling now that you are where you are now even more surreal, having kind of had the journey you've had?
Yeah. In high school, never played any. I played provincial B side, a few games in grade 7, on the EFR, but never in high school, never played. I don't know why. the field trials I didn't even go to. But it's something that I don't really put my head around too much. That's how the wheel turned for me. I think it gave me a bit of a different go and a vibe to just train a bit harder and try and make it another way. I never really let that get in front of me. So it was nice it wasn't nice not to play at that time, but going all there and actually realizing where you can end up. It doesn't really matter where you are at school and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's quite important for young guys to realize that as well. Especially when you're not even representing your province at high school, it kind of gets written off. And I think it's tough to get into a setup, break into a setup if you haven't been in it throughout the ranks. Which actually, just leads me perfectly into my next kind of question: is how did you break into it? How did you kind of get noticed? What maybe was there maybe an example of where it kind of turned for you? Because it's fascinating. You don't often see guys break into a professional setup having not played provincial junior cricket.
Yeah, I've had a bit of an interesting journey. There's a few guys that helped me probably to get where I am today. I don't always remember just now. Like I think the big guys in my career was Johan Miller. He from school actually gave me a bit of an opportunity to play for the first team, and he saw talent in me and kept on going. Was a massive mentor for me as well. And then Mark Charlton, Chris Gorosa, all those guys, the six coaches, all of them had the input. I know Chris and Charlie. I used to train with them a lot, and they almost trained me trying to train my mindset to train as a professional, and eventually got the opportunity to play against Northwest for Charlie. And I think from there, it actually just kick-started a bit. Got the opportunity to train with them a bit more, and then it just the next season I got opportunity to play, and it just never stopped.
Mm. How do you reflect on your career thus far? Having had the journey you've been on, what's kind of the biggest takeaway you have taken from your career so far?
Well, one thing I've always had to train a bit harder, which was nice. But I've realized early on that for me, that you always had to have a plan to work to. It's nice to have goals and aspirations and stuff, but you almost have to put that aside and plan accordingly, step by step. I mean, you can't have a dream and you can't work towards a dream. The dream almost comes from itself. You have to be patient enough to follow a weekly training schedule and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, when you get opportunity, you also have to realize that you're going to have to give up a lot of things. I think a lot of cricketers want the dream, but they're not really prepared to give up the life that they also want, the social life they want with that. So in that, you have to realize that you're going to have to give up a few things to become a professional cricketer.
Yeah. Where, from this journey and, having to learn quite quickly, what have been some of the biggest sacrifices you've had to make, in terms of social life and how conscious were you of the sacrifice that you had to make?
Yeah, well, at first you're trying to juggle it, both of it. But
yeah.
I mean, socializing with friends, going out late night, holidays, so many holidays that I had to give up. I know a lot of my friends, they almost know that, if they have trips to Mozambique or hunting trips, anything, you have to, they almost know that you can't make it. I mean, things change so quickly. But that's probably, and with family trips, all those things, girlfriends, I mean, you're giving up so much.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very small sacrifice if you have a dream to play as a professional cricketer. So at the time it's tough, but once you start going and getting where you want to be, I mean, you almost kind of forget that. You always know the things you have to give up, but it's not a problem if you have another goal on mind. So as I say, it's not everyone can be a professional cricketer, and I mean, it's going to be easy once you have to give up a few things. But it's worth it at the end.
I had Dylan Lates on a few podcasts ago, and he said that the way he looked at it was it's not a sacrifice, it's a small investment. And I wonder, do you so obviously didn't play junior ranks provincially. Was it a dream to play professionally? And then when did you realize kind of, okay, I can give this a good go?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to play cricket. I think it's in any young cricketer that play at school and stuff, you almost have that dream to play. You don't necessarily realize where you can be at. But I wanted to go and study. That was, to me, was a big thing to go and study. But
and what was
11?
What was on the agenda to study?
I wanted to study electrical engineering.
Okay. Was a smart guy as well.
And stuff. No, I just had to work hard.
That's what everyone is.
No, man. But so yeah, and I think Johan Miller changed my mind completely in trying to make it as a professional cricketer. It wasn't set up. My high school career and stuff wasn't set up to become a professional career. He almost planted that seed in grade 11 matric a bit, and then in a matric he just almost kept on saying this and just let's go and have a go. Let's just try and make it. And I think it wasn't actually for him. Obviously, my father and them, they also supported that, and for him, it's also a great thing. But Johan Miller, he almost gave me a bit of hope to say that, you actually can do it. So that's actually where it started. In a matric, my mind changed a bit.
Brilliant. So let's do a quick game of who is and why. Every time I do a podcast, these get shorter, but it's probably the best part of it. Who is the kitman's? Oh no, sorry. What am I saying? Who is the nightmare in the nets?
Well,
aside from Migael Pretorius.
What team are you reflecting to now? Because if it's Proteas, it's Anna, definitely. But I'm thinking if it's at night, a nightmare is Gerald. He keeps on coming quick and short.
Oh yes, he's flipping. He's a youngster as well as my age. He's like 21. He's quite a young guy.
21, yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, yeah. I can respect that. Who is the messiest?
Oh, probably Budaza. Yeah.
Who's quality on a night out?
Oh, Faji, Farhan Berdin.
Oh, really?
Great guy, yeah.
I saw your Instagram story yesterday. Are you guys playing tomorrow?
Yeah, we're playing semi-finals against the Lions.
Let's go.
Let's just hope the rain stays away.
Yes.
So,
yeah. It's been a bit of a characteristic of that tournament. Just the rain, shame. Who's the best player you've ever played against?
Played against? Oh, that's a tough one. Is that locally or wherever?
Wherever, anyone, just the best ever. You like when you faced him or you came up against him, you were like, how's this guy this good?
Yeah, I think it was Owen Morgan. In Abu Dhabi. Yes, that guy came back, but it was just a serious player.
Okay, cool. So a kind of segment I'm trying to add a little bit more, just because it's an area where I'm trying to learn a lot more and develop is performance and leadership. So I think you're kind of the first guy that I'm trying with this. So in terms of some of the non-negotiables in your game as a professional cricketer, what are those? Like as a pro cricketer on and off the field, what are some of the non-negotiables that Migael Pretorius has to implement?
Look, one thing that to me is, I enjoy my social life. I enjoy a glass of wine. It's important, I think, to also have something where you can go, you can get your mind off cricket. But one thing is that you can never do something, never plan something, and know that you're consciously going to miss training and stuff. So that's one thing is no matter what I do the night before, no matter where I am, you never make an excuse to miss training. That is, to me, the only non-negotiable. You have to be at training.
Okay. And then how do you feel when you're at your best? Like, when you're in flow, you're just feeling completely on top of your game. How can you maybe provide examples or an example where you thought like, okay, I'm seriously in a good zone here in terms of maybe a performance or a game where, yeah.
Yeah. This season, Red Bull season was probably one of them. I just had such a good rhythm. I normally know, I don't bowl a lot of nobles, but I normally know when I land quite consistently and hitting a good area, I know my rhythm is very good. Sometimes you do fight conditions a bit, but to me, a big thing is knowing if I'm consistent with line and length. I know that my rhythm and everything is just in one motion. But yeah, I've had a few nice games this season. I think
the seventh
for me, stats-wise, probably not. Yeah, I don't think that was my best. My best bowling didn't feel that game. I think the one that I felt the best was the first game we played against the Warriors. I didn't take a lot of wickets, but I just had such a good rhythm. It just felt like I could go the whole day.
Yeah. How do you replicate that?
It's definitely muscle memory. I think I enjoy bowling a lot in the net. I think it's not everyone do, but like PCs and stuff. I try and get a lot of overs on my back. I just feel it's just something. It becomes a habit. A lot of guys, they're accurate, but they do as soon as they get a bit tired, they do stray from their accuracy. And for me, that's important to bowl a lot. And your body needs to know how it feels to bowl under a bit of strain, a bit of fatigue, and so that's my trick. It doesn't always work, but it works for me.
Yeah, certainly. How do you? So you've played in the T10, and you've been in high pressure environments. With the Proteas, obviously, there's a lot more pressure and kind of attention that gets drawn to it. How do you think you react under pressure? Like, what's your go-to when you've bowled 3 balls, 3 of them have gone for 6? What do you revert to when you're under pressure?
Luckily I haven't been in that situation, but
it's just me. Okay. 6 tonight.
No. Yeah, I've had a situation similar to that when we played the finals against the Warriors, and John was just absolutely hitting everything out of the ground. And I remember the first ball, I think they needed like 13. My first ball, I tried about a York and it went for 6. And I had so many things on my mind when running in, but then I've almost, one thing I fall back on is as I'm walking back, try and have a plan as you walk back in. As soon as you turn around, there's nothing else in your head, even if it's the right or the wrong one. At least it's one thing and not a million other things. It easily happens when you're getting hit like that. You're thinking of so many things. So, I just try and think of one thing. I've got one ball that I try and go to whenever things get tough. And if that doesn't work, I don't know. Then I'll try and figure something out. But I just have one plan, one thing in your head as you turn around. You can't be thinking you want to change something as you're running in, because that's normally when it just goes haywire.
How would you say that your kind of skills are in terms of like thinking on your feet of a plan? I suppose, that comes with experience, but as of now, how do you think your skills are in terms of thinking of that plan and executing?
I've been very lucky to be surrounded by very experienced players and chatting to them a lot, especially like Fudgy and Sean that played in special situations. So I normally try and talk to them and hear what their mindset was in a special situation, how they reacted, what they tried to do. So then I'll try and incorporate the plans that I have around that. But skills-wise, you have to. I don't normally try to do too many things. Try and back myself in four balls that I can train and practice a lot. But to me, it helps knowing the guys around me to when things get tough. I can always fall back on them, but sometimes you do have to fall back on someone. But you have to back that process and stuff. And as I say, I've been very lucky to be surrounded by a player like that in all the teams I've played with.
Yeah. And then, from what I've seen and read, you seem to have been a guy who's always looking to get that extra edge, whether it be in the gym or on the field. Where does that mindset come from? I know you said you have brothers, so that's probably maybe a big factor. But yeah, where do you think that mindset has come from? Have you always had it, or have you had to maybe learn it?
No, I've always had it. I'm very competitive, but it's just something I think it started from a young age as well. Even playing in the backyard. I mean, you're always trying to win.
You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose.
No, never. Even if it's something small. I mean, but I think it's probably something you're born with. It's something you can spark maybe if it wasn't there from a young age. But the type of sport I've always played was always a competitive sport. It was never a one man thing, which I think helped as well because there's a lot of other guys in the team that feels the same. So it kind of drives your ambition to win. So that's, I think, that's basically it.
I think let's move on to the Proteas, because obviously it would have been a dream of yours. It's been a dream of mine, and I haven't reached those heights. Obviously, that's why we're here. But first of all, obviously, congrats on the call up. It must be incredible. What was the experience like getting the news for you and your family and everyone who supported you? It must have been insane.
Yeah, thank you. It was unbelievable. It was very, very like it happened very suddenly. Wasn't expecting it at all, but it was unbelievable. I think my brother and my dad was probably almost looked like they were happier than me. Just having all their support and for all the years. I mean, they were the one watching all the games and stuff. But it was unbelievable. It was a bit shorter than I would have hoped, but unfortunately, injuries you can't really do much about that. But it was very nice. Enjoyed every bit of it. Learned a lot. I mean, you can only learn there. Which is a nice thing. It's always nice to talk to all the guys, the senior guys, Dean and Quinny and them stuff. I mean, they've been in so many situations, and it's nice to also know that how they reacted to getting their first call-ups and getting their first games and stuff. So hopefully mine happens soon. But just knowing that you could have been in that situation, you were around. It's just very nice knowing it's already a dream come true. And it's already, I think, a lot of kids that dream just to be around us and in that setup. So it's like it's step by step.
Yeah, no, it's. It must be incredible, and especially having had the journey you've had with maybe injury and not being selected for provincial sides. Was there maybe a moment where you got selected and the dust had settled, and you thought to yourself, like, you know what? Screw those guys who didn't select me in high school or provincially at junior setups? Or was it all very I suppose, was there I told you so moment?
When I was younger, I used to think back about moments like that. But I mean, as I got a bit older, I mean, you learn to put those things past and I mean, behind you and leave the past almost where it was. It's a negative mindset almost if you want to try and think about that, because then I feel like you end up playing to show someone else wrong, and it's then you're almost losing the real reason why you're playing and stuff. But for the past 3-4 years, not. But you always get, somewhere inside you do get a good sensation when you know that some people didn't back you, but it's not based on someone specific. It's just a bit of an achievement. Yeah.
And then, going into that environment must be insane. What mindset did you go in with? And how clear were the coaches on your role? Were they tell you like, look, you may get a game, were you not going to get a game?
Yeah, it's always difficult. I mean, you're waiting until you see the pitch and the conditions and stuff. So there was always that in my mindset. There was always that chance that I might be playing, and they try and be open and honest with you. It's very difficult to commit and saying you're gonna play and you can't play. But for me, the big thing was learning and see what that environment is all about. And and the day I do get that opportunity, it's not going to be a new thing to me. So I mean, I try and change and focus my practices around that, even when I'm back at night. I know now how it is there, and it makes it a bit easier to train to be ready for that step up.
So having been with the Proteas now and back with the Knights, obviously back with your franchise, which is awesome, and not injured anymore, what would you say maybe the main differences are between the national setup and then the Knights?
I don't think there's a massive change. I mean, Alan Donald being our coach, I mean, he's been around and he sets up all our training and practices very professionally. I mean, you do feel when you're training, I mean, for me personally, it really feels like I'm training at international standards. I think which helps a lot. That's the mindset that he also follows here. I think that made it a lot easier for me to go up. I mean, there's a few certain other small things that you probably change when going up, but training wise and stuff, but for me, I think training, especially at night, it was kind of the same. Same intensity, same vibe. There's the same aggression going to the net. So I think that helped a lot.
Okay. And then the bio bubble must have been something very strange. How do you, I don't say reflect, but I mean, what was the experience in that bio bubble?
Well, I think the first 3 days was very boring. Chipping in my room, putting in my room, you just go out to eat. That was very frustrating, actually. It wasn't nice at all. But after that, I mean, we were allowed to walk around and chill with the other guys. I mean, I probably was fishing more than training there, but so that helped a lot. It was nice sitting there. And I mean, after that, it wasn't too bad. At least we got into the game and stuff. So then it was fine.
No, have you had COVID yet?
No, I haven't yet. Done a few tests, luckily.
Oh, how have the tests been? I haven't even had a test. I don't think I've had it, but fingers crossed I don't get it. How was it?
No, let's hope so. No, the franchise you get in the nose, that's terrible. It's not a great feeling. It's sore. But at the Proteas, we got it in the throat, swab in the throat, which was a lot better. But it's not great at all. It's not really sore, but it's very uncomfortable. 1 or 2 was very sore, but yeah, I mean, hopefully you shouldn't have to go for one, or you don't have to go for one. It's not great.
So you get the call up, then you get released due to injury, to maybe or vastly different emotions. How tough was it being released? Like reflecting now.
Yeah, it was. To yourself, it's not great. You're almost looking for answers and where it went wrong. What could you have done differently? I mean, you almost feel like you're missing out, and you are missing out. I mean, experience and what's happening. So, not great. Very very emotional. I mean, it was a bit of a hard pill to swallow for me. But for me, I try and keep my head up and know that. Okay, I've been there, so I understand the situation. I understand what is needed of me to perform and get there again. So in saying that, I mean, it's never nice to not play and stuff, but you also have to put that beside you, put it behind you, and just work on and getting back.
Yeah, and then in terms of like, you get released, and then was it straight out the bio bubble, basically into normal life again?
Yeah, back into normal life. It's, as you leave those doors, it's out of there. So I went on to my normal thing. Was fortunate enough to spend the time with the family over New Year's, and then straight into rehab and started my rehab. I mean, the rehab went so well, and I'm ready in a quicker time than they thought. So I mean, it makes it easier if the guy's helping you. Those things, you almost forget about what happened, and it's easier to focus on the path going forward.
Yeah, awesome. Where do you see yourself in the next 4, 8, 12 years? What's in an ideal world, what's the dream? IPL contracts or what?
Yeah, as I say, it will be nice as a GM to play there, but I'll try not to look too far ahead. I think for me for this year is trying to get into the Proteas setup and again and actually try and get a game here and then and try and cement myself as much as I can. The opportunity is there, and I feel there is a gap for me to do that. I just have to be ready, stay ready, and then perform. It will be nice, as I say. I mean, I'm not looking further than the next probably 6 months. So hopefully in the next 2 tours coming up, I'll join the squad again, and then I'll be able to tell you where the next 6 months will go to.
No, brilliant. Migael, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome to to meet you on Zoom in these weird times. But yeah, it's been awesome to hear your story. It's quite a unique one. I think a lot of guys will take a lot of inspiration from it. So thanks for sharing.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we chat soon again.